It was only a week ago that we were here. Eric and I are back again. I'm Caleb Jarreau, sports editor here at the Daily Beacon. That's Eric Woods, assistant sports editor. Eric, big win tonight for Tennessee, 41-20 over South Carolina. It did not end that way last year. What did you see? What was your biggest takeaway from tonight?
I mean, my biggest takeaway was the defense. They got off the field on third down. I mean, I didn't think there was, me personally, you picked them to win, but
you picked South Carolina
to win. I picked Tennessee to win simply because it was a night game in Neyland with the dark mode jerseys. So that was pretty much my basis for the pick. And I didn't think it was going to be a 20-point win. It was 41-20. That was another big surprise, but the defense just showed out, and there wasn't when South Carolina got going in that first quarter, they were moving the ball, and the defense they found a way to get off the field, and then you saw them get off. There were the fourth downs, the fake punts, and they stayed steady, and that was the biggest thing is that impressed me, because I mean they've been good when they're confident, but when things don't start to go well, it's kind of spiraled out of control. But it didn't this time. And then Joe Milton, he threw 2 picks, but I thought he was pretty sharp today. And the one pick that he threw was it Jacob Warren?
He threw a jump ball to the tight end.
It was a little underthrown. But it also set up South Carolina basically right here.
Yeah.
And then the one to the safety that was just a misread, and it wasn't that bad. It looked bad, but I mean, other than that, I thought he was really sharp.
Yeah, you called me out not even a minute into this video for my South Carolina pick. I did pick South Carolina because I thought that Tennessee secondary would not play good like they did last year, and I thought that Joe Milton, and they wouldn't open up the playbook for Joe Milton, that the intermediate game would not be there. The secondary didn't have to play good because the defensive line was in the backfield every play. I mean, 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. When they weren't getting sacks, and there were a ton of missed tackles in the backfield, they were back there making Spencer Rattler hurry, make him throw it away, make him run out of bounds, make him scramble. It felt like that was the biggest difference. And I wrote about it this week that South Carolina was tied for 127th in the nation for how many sacks they gave up, and that was last, and they were last in the SEC. I think they gave up 17 or 18 coming into tonight. And on the flip side, Tennessee led the SEC in sacks and were top 5 in the nation. Obviously, the game was won or lost at the line of scrimmage in the trenches, and Tennessee came away with that victory. Eric, what did you see from the defensive line tonight?
I mean, Spencer Rattler, he's a mobile guy. Obviously, like you said, their offensive line isn't that good, but if he has really good escapability, and that was the thing is Aaron Beasley could be coming up the middle, but Spencer Rattler could have just stepped aside. But the thing that did happen on the first drive where he did scramble for, I think it was a 19-yard gain, and it set up their field goal. But other than that, I mean, he would step aside, and there was just 3 other Vols there to make the sack or just make him throw it out of bounds.
Yeah, you couldn't escape right or left because you had James Pierce on one side, Amari Thomas coming up the middle, your linebacker, edge rusher on the other side, Roman Harrison screaming at you. Rodney Garner talked about that this week, that they needed push from everybody, because if only one side pushes, and we saw it, like you said, with some of those first down runs early in the game, if you're only getting pushed from the left side, well, Spencer Rattler can just roll out arm side and get a first down with his legs, or throw it to the guy who's just sitting wide open because the play is broken. But they got pushed from everywhere, and you saw that with those 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. And they got a ton of stops on third down and fourth down. I mean, you look at this, South Carolina was 2 of 14 on third down and 2 of 5 on fourth down conversions. Those are big numbers that Tennessee was not getting coming into tonight, and that defense really played the difference tonight. Spencer Rattler did not throw for 6 touchdowns like he did a season ago, only held them to 20 points, and were able to coast to a win, even with, like you said, Joe Milton throwing a couple of interceptions, not having maybe his best night. Flipping to the offensive side, last time Tennessee faced off South Carolina last year, Hendon Hooker tore his ACL, was out for the season. This year, Brew McCoy goes down with a nasty-looking lower body, lower leg injury. That does not bode well for him in Tennessee, obviously, the rest of the year. We do not know what his status is, and I'm sure we'll get an update soon. But from the way it looked, it did not look good. He got carted off and ambulanced away. So not what you want to see from your presumptive wide receiver 1 for sure. But you saw some young guys step up. You saw Squirrel White step up. Dante Thornton was also out tonight hurt. Looked like he had a wrapping on his wrist. Eric, who do you see stepping up in this wide receiver room, and kind of did we see some of those young guys start that tonight?
I didn't necessarily see anybody stand out. It was.
I mean, you have no young guys in the top 4 receiving, and you also had, I want to say Chaz Nimrod, where the ball hit him in the hands.
Yeah, it hit him in the hands. That's what I was trying to think of. It hit him in the hands, and he was wide open. And
for a first down on a third down.
And he also had one, I think it was last week, where he had a touchdown that he dropped. And so, I mean, it's getting, I mean, entering the season, the wide receiver room was pretty deep. I mean, you want to have those vets, and you want to have that healthy mix of young guys. I thought they have that. But, I mean, you lose probably your most reliable receiver in Brew McCoy.
Especially when you're running wide receiver screens every day.
I don't think he's coming back this season.
No, that injury did not look good. And Brew McCoy was a guy with the playbook not open fully that they relied on a ton. Because when you have a guy his size out wide, you just hit him on a wide receiver screen and he hits that first defensive back, he's going to fall forward for 5 yards, 6 yards. They don't have that now. You have to rely on some of those young guys, and we did not see those guys necessarily step up. Yes, they were out there. Caleb Webb caught his first career touchdown not too long ago, but there's going to be a big difference from playing late in the game and getting your first career touchdown to filling in for your presumptive wide receiver 1. Because I don't think you can ask for Mel Keaton to do the same thing as Brew McCoy did.
I mean,
because they're just different players. Squirrel White's a slot receiver through and through. You can't ask him to do the same things. Even blocking, Brew McCoy would be the lead blocker in some of those screen passes.
I mean,
to
you
Squirrel.
saw it on Joe Milton's 81-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, Brew McCoy led him all the way down the field. You're not just losing a wide receiver there, you're losing a leader and a guy who kind of impacted the game in every facet. And kind of to wrap up now, Eric, with his injury and a lot of other injuries kind of plaguing this team right now, what do you think is the goal going into this open date, this bye week? Obviously, get healthy is the easy answer, but what do you kind of want to see when we step back out on Neyland Stadium here in 2 weeks?
I mean, I think we've talked about the young guys a lot. I think you want to see the young guys take that step up. I mean, you saw it. You saw it a little bit last week with, I mean, Caleb Webb had a decent game and stuff like that. But I think you want to see these young guys come out ready with a desire to contribute. And I think it's late enough in the season to where you should start seeing who those guys are. I mean, last year we saw it with Dylan Sampson. He started getting more touches around this point. I can't remember the exact day, but I mean, you want to see those young guys start to step up. I mean, and for the wide receivers, they're going to have to do it a little bit prematurely. They're not going to be able to just have a big play. They're gonna have to contribute. And then on defense, also the young guys. You have Arian Carter, Jeremiah Thielander, who had a pretty nice game today. He was in there a lot on some short down situations. And so the biggest thing is just get. I think we know what we're getting out of the vets and all that, but I think you just have to see your young guys try to find a way to contribute.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, honestly, is now those young guys don't just have to step up or want to step up, they're needed. Like, this has to happen now because, and I feel like that'll help that push. Like, Brew is out. Dante's kind of banged up as well. It's either now or never that you thrive or sink or swim, really. Just throw them in. You have to step up. You have to play. And I feel like with the linebackers, we've kind of see them get in a little bit and a little bit more every week with Keenan Peely obviously getting hurt, and then Aaron Beasley still there, the veteran. You're able to work in those younger linebackers a little slower. Those wide receivers now, you just have to throw them to the wolves and hope for the best because there's nobody else to play at that position. And we don't know the status of Dante Thornton. Brew McCoy, you assume, is probably out most of the season, if not all of it. So it's up to those young guys. And on the defensive side, like you said, this bye week is the perfect opportunity for those guys to start accepting that, hey, I need to be the starter now. I need to be the main contributor. It's no longer I get a play or two and we rely on Brew. It's we're relying on Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod, those younger guys. And I think we hit everything. Eric, bye week, so you won't see us next Saturday. 2 weeks, we'll be back out at Neyland Stadium for Texas A&M. For all of our game coverage, you can find it at utdailybeacon.com. For Eric Woods, I'm Caleb Jarreau, and this has been another production of the Daily Beacon Sports Podcast Network, Video Network, Writing Network. We do everything.